Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. Um, Back with my news and views, my views on some of the news out there. So let me start by saying a special oi to the bang. Um, Brazilian, our peeps in Brazil are going through a lot, right? Um, so let me get the rest of my greetings out of the way. Jambo Habani Gani and Sani Bonani, Kedu Bawani, Konnichiwa, Ni hao ni hao ma, Bonjour mes amis, and was ist los, homie? Anyway, guten Tag. Uh, anyway, Brazil is pretty much known to us in the U.S. as a sex culture, but what we don't know here is they have about the seventh largest economy, very large economy over in South America, right? And brothers, it would be the place to be to go and get a wife. But what we don't need to do is buy into the sex culture there. All right. So basically, I'm doing this video so that brothers can be aware of what's really going on. Because I have done a lot of research. Um, my first greeting, oi to the bang, right? That is how you greet someone in Brazil. Okay. Um, is to the bang, to the bone. Uh, uh, and basically that's pretty much how you greet people in Brazil. So I've been studying, learning the language, understanding the culture. I can even samba a little bit, right? But at the end of the day, like I said, before I start recommending stuff and junk, I try to put stuff out here. Now, as you know, I became aware of Brazil by comments from other brothers, videos by other brothers and stuff, and I'm disappointed in them. In this, I tried to contact them via their video. They don't message back. Facebook and stuff. None of them message back. So I did my own research, and this is what I come up with. All right, and as you know, brothers, when y'all ask questions of me, I pretty much try to message back. I'm almost at 1 million viewers, right? I have a bunch of subscribers, and I thank you for subscribing. So please subscribe, like, share all my videos, um, and discuss all my videos. They're open for discussions primarily amongst us black men that are really searching for the truth. All the simps and all the rest of the stuff, and anybody that come and defend the evil that these black women are doing, I just delete you, male or female, white or black. I don't care. You're not worth discussing. You're not worth a discussion. All right, and this goes for you, especially black women, because I'm seeing you as a problem. I just did an interview with, was talking with some elders, um, at a PX, and they see what I see. All right, but this is what we know of Brazil, and brothers, we need to wake up and understand that there's more to these women. Now, these women in Brazil, Brazilian women do make good wives if they understand that brothers are looking for them as wives. All right, there is the caveat. But if you want a hoe, they'll be all that and more for you. But then you better watch your belt back, because little do you know, if these women have to go back to the favelas, then that's who's running them, the favelas. If you can take them out of the favela, you got yourself a good woman. Like out of certain favelas. In other words, if you can better their life, which most black American men that can go to Brazil, think about it, because we got a passport and we got income. So most black American can get them a good wife in Brazil if a wife is what you want. All right. And a lot of black men are going down there and finding wives, right? But you got to be on your P's and Q's because there's a lot going on um, in Brazil. All right. Take a look at this video and I'll come back with some more stuff.
Brazil's Senate has just approved the impeachment of President Dilma Rousseff. She will now be suspended from office while there is a formal 6-month investigation into the allegations against her for budgetary misconduct. Her former ally turned nemesis, Vice President Michel Temer, will take her place. Now, for many who only know Brazil for its sun, sand, soccer, and samba, this impeachment might not seem like a big deal, but it is. It's already politically ripping the country apart and threatening to not only undermine the country's democracy, but destabilize the region. And here's why. Brazil is the 5th largest country in the world. It has the 7th largest GDP, which literally dwarfs the total of all the rest of the South American countries combined. Now, despite a recent faltering economy and climbing inflation, the Workers' Party governments of Rousseff and her predecessor, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, have lifted millions out of poverty through countless social programs and attempted to address Brazil's grave inequality. But it was on the international scene that Lula and Rousseff truly made their mark. They broke with a century-old foreign policy of subservience to U.S. interests and allied themselves with the progressive left in the region, Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, and Argentina. Brazil became an active member of the Union of South American Nations and helped to found the BRICS and the G20 group of developing countries. It called for the end of the U.S. blockade on Cuba and even housed ousted Honduran President Manuel Zelaya in its embassy after the 2009 coup. Under the soon-to-be President Temer, Brazil is heading in the opposite direction. He's promised to push to the right, implementing further neoliberal policies, and has already sent someone to meet with people in Washington. It's a hard hit for the progressive left in the region, and particularly for social movements in Brazil, which are promising to remain on the streets against what they and many others are calling a coup. But that is nevertheless where Brazil is likely headed, away from regional integration and once again into Washington's back pocket.
All right, so here are some of the problems in Brazil. The, the favelas, many of the favelas, they kept poor. Their policies for all their riches and for their economy came at the exploitation of their primary African-looking people. Remember, I told you once before that the main goal in Brazil was to get all the black out of the skins of black people, right? And this, when white people are trying to take melanin away, they have to do it over generations. Whereas when a black man is trying to put melanin in somebody, he don't need generations. He do it with that first generation. All right. So the first child that come out as a result of a black man gets melanin already, right? But white people, in order to get melanin out, they have to, one, get you to hate yourself, devise mechanisms by force to make sure that you do not maintain a relationship with any black man. And then only the white men pick the women and screw them until they can lighten their skin up. And part of this is to poison the minds of the women to make them think that there is something less than to being black. Who that sound like? That if that don't sound like the devil or Satan, I don't know what does, right? So these are the policies. Now, this is the police force, which only comes during big events like the World Cup and Brazil got the Olympics, right? So now they're trying to clean out the favelas, not clean up permanently. All right. And so the favelas around the stadiums and the around the Olympic Park, they're trying to make a concerted effort to get the drugs and stuff off of there. But they're going to have a problem on their hands. And this is the problem. All these you see they're running around with AR-15s, M16s. All right. This is the problem here in Brazil. The problem is you can't control this once you've created this destruction um, all the way up to 1898. Okay? 1898. That's when Brazil um, gave slaves freedom. But then again, no, they did not. It's because in the 1900s, that's when they came out with the Whiteout Project, when the government of Brazil actively recruited European men to come over there and by any means necessary lighten up the skins by either rape or marriage. So this is still going on, kind of like Jim Crow was going on here. Then they still kept these people from education like the United States did here. Uh, uh, a lot of you may not be um, aware of this, but there are there's a brigade of Confederate Army people that went down to Brazil as part of this whiteout movement. And they took their same raping tactics that they used in the United States down there to Brazil to do to the women in Brazil what they did to the black women in the United States up here. Then, right? Now, here's the difference. Why don't I give the black women in the United States a pass? Right? Because if you look over the black community in totality, and y'all seen the video I put up where black men invented a lot of the stuff that is vital to how we do things today. If you just take the stoplight for one, the red light, right? The black women in the United States have forsaken all that their black men did for them, even as early as the Black Panther movement. Oh, forget that. Even as early as the computer movement. It's a black man that came up with the systems, the way we use them as far as 3D, the Nintendos and stuff like that, the graphics. All right. Black men came up with a lot of things, but our black women have forsaken that. Right. It's going to go back to this, the United States. And just like we believe that I believe that the United States have a little to do with the destabilization of Brazil because they want to be the only big boys on the block. Um, I believe they also wouldn't mind getting us back to this era. You see what I mean? And this is a problem. It would be a problem. This is where the United States want to get black people back to. And the problem is many of the educated brothers, the so-called, and I'm not talking about college educated, I mean educated as in skills, mechanics and stuff. We're not going back there. Now, the United States to have what's going on there would fall. Instantly fall. It would be all out everything war, right? But there's a segment of our population that's going to be living like this, especially when they take away all those safety nets because they can no longer afford them. And it's already shown that you cannot trust the choice of a black woman in the United States. Now, understand these people in there, they call this the city of God. These dudes running around here, these weapons they got from the police. Police corruption is rampant, right? So one must be careful when you go down there. All right. Now, the reason why I put these pictures up here is Brazil don't want you to know that dark-skinned black people exist down there. All right? Now, the other thing is you got brothers that go back and forth and stuff, but they're not really putting out open information to the rest of the brothers. Right? So now they're suspect to me. I asked a simple question. What's it like? What about using credit cards in Brazil? I didn't get the answer from that brother. I had to do a lot of research with banks and stuff like that. And credit cards are a good thing to use, not debit cards, but credit cards. So if you have a credit card, you can use it down there, and it'd be a good way to keep track of things. And your bank could call you, and you could dispute unauthorized charges when you have a credit card, right? And so they got a lot of scams going on in Brazil because it's a tourist country, and where there's a lot of people, you're going to have a lot of scammers. Like over here in Florida, you go to Florida, California, New York, come on. All right, so this don't just go on in Brazil, right? But Brazil can be a good place for black men, but you need to go down there in groups. You know, maybe go down there with a homeboy or in groups of twos and threes, and everybody watch each other's back. All right, these are the favelas, and this is what you're looking at. I'll put it this place: the place that never flood. And now you understand why Brazilians are so healthy. They got to walk up hell of hills and steps to get to their house. But these are the favelas, right? Brazil has been neglected by the leadership. And remember, the only leadership that they had is European from Portugal. So if you're Spanish, you're European. If you're Portuguese, you're European. All right. Just because the Spanish mixed with some of the Indians don't mean that everybody is Spanish. I mean, everybody is Indian. If they're Spanish, Mexican, then they're European. All right. And so basically, they won't all the stuff that I'm showing you in this video is stuff that the Brazilian government don't want you to see. Kind of like how the United States government don't show you South Central LA. You don't see that until you watch old school raps. You don't see parts of New York until you watch old school raps and see how it was back in the day, right? But they didn't promote it unless they were promoting it negatively in the news. All right. And Brazil is this violent. This is like I said, it's the one. Rio de Janeiro is one of the most violent places in the world. All right. But there is black love there. But it's just not seen. Remember, the image of beauty that Brazil wants you to see is just the European standard of, especially when it comes to men. They don't want you to see any woman with a black man. Period. When you look at Brazil, everybody is with a white man. The black woman is with a white man. The white woman is with a white man. But they won't show you this. You won't see this picture. I had to dig it up, and a lot of stuff is getting out. When people go down there for the Olympics, the more modern day people go down there with cell phones and stuff, image like these will get out. All right. So these are the images that Brazil is trying to hide. You know, they're trying to hide what they did to their own people, the government. Now the government is paying for it. But the people are rising up. And the more of us from the U.S., especially as black people that go there, remember they're 54% black. The more of us positive Negroes go there, us brothers go there, and we need leave the light skin alone and appreciate the dark beautiful women as I've posted on some of my videos. We may be able to change the U.S. from the bottom up. We may be able to change the U.S., South America, and Brazil, at least the image of black men. Remember, the Chinese are recognizing Stephon Marbury. Stephon Marbury in China is kicking butt like my man Bruce Leroy. All right. He is bringing notoriety to the integrity of black men in China. The Chinese offered him a green card. First offered to a black man, I believe. They want him as a citizen of China. All right. And this is how we need to be, black men. We need to be ambassadors wherever we go. So I don't know what a lot of these other brothers are talking about, but we need to be ambassadors where we go. And we've been doing a good job of it around the world. We need to get our passports, and we need to go to places like Brazil, Guyana, French Guyanese, countries in Africa, countries in Europe, and be ambassadors not to the United States, but to black men. All right. With that said, oh, there's a reason why black women are not seen as ambassadors anywhere. Anytime you diss your own, you see what I'm saying? Anytime you turn on your own, people look at you in a negative light. So black women are seen as loud, obnoxious, traitorous everywhere in the world. That's why they're the least preferred woman on the planet. And the other thing is, black brothers are starting to open some eyes in a positive way to people across the world. With that said, I'm out.